Hello, my name is Rich and welcome to Greatest Rock and Metal. On Greatest Rock and Metal I talk about the bands and the memories that are, to me, of all the greatest rock and metal bands that I have seen and heard over the years. I've listened to thousands of albums, been to hundreds of gigs, had many great memories, and I'd like to share some of those with you. Today I am going to be talking about one of the most controversial bands in rock and metal, and that is Babymetal. If you enjoy this episode, please press the red button to subscribe so that you can see future episodes. Okay, so on to Babymetal. Why am I saying that Babymetal is one of the greatest rock and metal bands in history? How can I justify a band that is made up of three girls doing choreographed dancing, mainly singing live to taped vocals, playing an amalgamation, a mixture, whatever you want to call it, a potpourri of so many different musical styles, and then mixing it with metal? How do they qualify? Well, in my opinion, they qualify because, one, it is extremely entertaining. Two, unique. It had never been done before. This was a real first. Three, the music's good. The musicians that they have on the albums and playing live with them are fantastic. So put aside your preconceived notions and just enjoy. And that's exactly what I have done. This band from Japan formed exactly 10 years ago. 2020 is their 10th anniversary, and there's lots of anniversary celebrations planned, even though they've been severely restricted by COVID. But they first started with what were then just coming up to teenage girls fronting this band. Three teenage girls, Su-Metal, the main vocalist, Moa-Metal and Yui-Metal, who were they're titled Scream and Dance. And they took Japan by storm. Within just 4 years of coming out, they were playing huge arenas in Japan, even before a first album had come out. The Japanese metal fans really got into this band, and once you experience them, you will see why. To date, they've had 3 albums released, 3 studio albums released. They've done countless gigs, mainly in Japan, but they've done a few world tours as well. And the size of their gigs just keeps getting bigger, and scale with the stage show keeps getting bigger and bigger, and more entertaining. How did I first get into Babymetal? Well, my first exposure to them was via YouTube, and I think it was one of these recommend things that come up on YouTube for this song Gimme Chocolate, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a try, and I was instantly hooked. That first video, or the first video that I saw for Gimme Chocolate, has now had, I think, something like 125 million views. Incredible. And that song it's just brilliant. It is the perfect snapshot of what Babymetal is all about. I got into this band big time. and today I'm going to be talking about their second album, which is called Metal Resistance. Of the three they've done so far, this for me is their best one. That's one of the reasons why I'm going to talk about it. The second reason why is because it was on the Metal Resistance tour, was the first time that I was able to experience Babymetal live. Okay, so first let's take a look at the album. This is one of the very limited editions of the album, very difficult to get, and the reason why it is difficult to get is because it was pressed in this beautiful red vinyl color, and sounds fantastic despite what some of the haters might say on the internet. The track list for this album. Now, as always, I will tell you what I consider to be my top 4. You also get this just a blank piece of paper, really, that just tells you what the track list is there on the back too. Okay, so for me, the top 4 tracks. Well, the first track, Road of Resistance. Now, what's most famous about this track is that it was actually written by a band called Dragon Force, which you may or may not know about. If you don't know about Dragon Force, go check them out. Maybe I'll do a future episode about them. And this is a full-on power metal song. This is just metal. There is no way that metal fans can say they do not like this song. It is full-on power metal. Think Halloween, think, of course, Dragon Force, think Blind Guardian, and that's the kind of song that we're talking about here. Fantastic song live, often played most of the time in their live sets. Another song that is recommended off this album is actually the second track, Karate. Cha, 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 cha. Okay, Karate, this was the first single from this album. Got a good video that goes along with it as well. And like I do with all of my episodes, I will put links to my 4 favorite tracks, YouTube links, so you can go and check out those tracks. Again, Karate, pretty much a mainstay of their live sets today. The next song I will choose is Yava. Now, this is where we start to move away from pure metal and get more into the mixture of styles. Yava kind of has almost an electronic dance music feel to it, mixed with the metal, and very fast paced, very fast tempo. Great song. And then the next song that I would choose would be Meta Tarot. Now, when I first heard this song, I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't sure. This is what you might call a battle metal type of song, or even folk metal type of song. So think bands like Ailstorm. I don't know if you know much about them, or Sabaton, and it's hard to really put it in a bracket because it really is a song that's unique in my mind anyway. And what really got me into this song was actually when I started to see it live, and it really came alive with the crowd singing along. Whoa. And there's a great version of this on one of their live DVDs. The title of the DVD, Dark Knight Galaxy. And they are joined on the track by the singer of Sabaton, and I would recommend that you check that version out. And it helps again to show the scale of a Babymetal live show. Now, to be honest, there's some other great tracks on this album. It's very, very difficult to choose only 4, and that I would say that you go and check out. But you've also got tracks like From Dusk Till Dawn, or Tale of the Destinies, and the epic The One. But I'm going to just stick with those 4. Okay, so I mentioned the live shows. I've got to talk about the main show that I saw on the Metal Resistance tour. But before that, rock t-shirts by the sea. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. So this is a Blu-ray of the show that most stands out in my memory from this tour, from the Metal Resistance tour, that I was lucky enough to attend. It is live at the Tokyo Dome in Japan. It was the biggest show they had played, if you put aside festivals. This was their own headlining show. Tokyo Dome holds 55,000 people. They played 2 nights. It was sold out for both nights. Unfortunately, I was only able to go to the one night. I say unfortunately because I had an amazing time, though it's not really that unfortunate. And for me, I went to what I consider to be the better night of the 2. Having watched both nights now on the Blu-ray, I think that the first night, which was the red night, was the better one. I think first because I think the atmosphere, because this was the first time people were seeing what was an amazing stage setup in the middle of the dome. Huge stage. So there was the excitement of that, where second night, okay, I wasn't there so I don't know for sure, but second night I would suggest it's not as exciting because you know what to expect. And also the first night, you had no idea what the set list was going to be. All you knew was that over the 2 nights, all the songs from both albums were going to be played. So the first night you had no idea how it was going to be mixed up. Obviously the second night you knew what songs they hadn't played, so you knew what the set list was going to be. So that's why for me the first night was better. Also I think the set list on the first night was just a touch stronger. Now, Babymetal is not just about the show. Babymetal is the whole culture. I've said before, my favourite band is Kiss. And the thing about Kiss, it's not just the music, it's the whole culture, it's everything that goes along with Kiss. Well, Babymetal have that too, because there is the theatrical element to it. So what you see when you go to a show, especially you go to a show in Japan, is you see the crowd dressing up, the atmosphere. They'll meet up hours before the show starts, and they congregate together and take photos and talk and have fun. Now the only thing I miss out on is, I did talk to a few of the fans, but a lot of them, they don't speak English, so it's hard to communicate. But they're all happy to take photos. I created my own little photo book from this particular gig, because I've got some amazing fan photos of fans that I was able to meet. So you see something like this, yeah, where the fans are dressing up either like the girls or like the band, yeah, and it really adds to the atmosphere of a Babymetal show. And then you have the show itself, and the setup for the show itself, it was phenomenal. There's a couple of shots of More Metal and Yui Metal on stage. Yeah, and then I don't know if you can really see this, but the lighting effect on one of the songs, because when they come to the last song, The One, this comes into play. The headbanger neck brace, essential for all headbangers. And what you've got here is a light. And when The One started, all the lights went dark, and then a white light beamed from the neck brace. So you have this amazingly huge stadium with 55,000 bright white lights blinking out all over the stadium in time with The One song at various points in the song. It was a spectacular effect, it really was. And it was just a great show. Babymetal put on fantastic live shows. They're nearly always different. The only criticism I would have of a Babymetal live show is too short. Very rarely have they ever played over an hour and a half, and most of their sets only last between 1 hour and 1 hour 10 minutes. That is too short of a set for a major live band. They should be playing at least an hour and a half every night, and they've got enough material to do it. There's no excuse that the girls get tired, because they have various breaks during the show for instrumental breaks that happen, and then there's some tracks where they're not all on stage together. So for me, there's no excuse. The show should be a little bit longer, but that's the only criticism I have of Babymetal. So there you have it. That's Babymetal. I would normally recommend albums to check out, but they've only got 3 studio albums. So if there was going to be a starting place, then it will be Metal Resistance. But also do check out their self-titled Babymetal album, which was the first, or the one I just said by accident there, the most recent one, Metal Galaxy. There you have it. Hope you enjoyed Greatest Rock and Metal. I know Babymetal is a controversial choice for Greatest Rock and Metal, but I think there's a recent Metal Hammer poll that put them number 10 of all-time Greatest Rock and Metal bands. So I'm not the only one who believes it. Please subscribe to Greatest Rock and Metal, and remember, as always, we rock.